Okay, we're back. Now that I've had a chance to tell you a little bit about the dimension of your experience that these body keys have been created in order to serve, I'd like to take you just a little bit deeper. I think it might serve you to have a better understanding for how they came to be. And in particular, I'd love to introduce you to the 3 systems that served to contribute to the creation of the body keys. But before we go there, I wanted to provide one last little piece of context. Here it is. While it is true that I have been searching for the very answers that these body keys have offered up for many, many years, and while it is also true that I have learned much as a result of my own experiences and experiments and observations, at the end of the day, these body keys revealed themselves to me, practically in an instant. And so my experience of them is not as something that I have earned or even found. Instead, my experience of them is as something that I have received, like a gift. And so it's in that spirit that I'm sitting before you now. Yeah. I want to share that gift with you. These were a revelation for me. And I feel a deep responsibility to share that because it's powerful stuff. So let's go just a little deeper. Let's look at the 3 different systems that contributed. The first is the human design system. Many of you may be familiar with this. The second is the gene keys. And the third is wayfinding. Wayfinding is a system of my own design. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's rewind to the beginning and look at human design first. What is human design? For those of you who are new to human design is a way of mapping your individual uniqueness. Human design is like a window looking down into the workings of you, into the workings of what makes you so special. It shows us the functionality of your ideal nature. And it does this through a visual imprint. Okay? So that visual imprint is known as a human design chart or a body graph. And when I'm looking at a human design chart, I'm looking at very specific elements in this visual imprint. When you look at it, you may see a bunch of big shapes colored in or not colored in. You may see that there's a bunch of different wires or channels connecting all of these big shapes together. Without becoming too technical, I'd like to tell you that the body keys, they revealed themselves to me through those channels. When you're looking at those channels, that's what they're called, you're looking at movements of energy. You're looking at themes and you're looking at very specific stories that speak to something important about you. And when you link up multiple channels in a sequence, you have what is known as a circuit. This circuitry, quite literally your wiring, is what I was contemplating when the body keys revealed themselves to me. What I found is that there are 7 distinct body keys, each body key relating to some embodied activity that you can enter into in a moment of stuckness or tension. Every one of these 7 body keys correlates directly to a primary challenge or stuckness pattern. Every one of us has one or several of these activated in our designs. So what we can do is we can look at which of these are most primary based on how you're built. And we can start to develop a formula of embodied activity, a direction for you to turn yourself toward in those moments when you feel stuck so that you don't have to remain in that quagmire of stuckness. It gives you something to do. And it brings you down into the space of the body. Okay, so that's the first piece, the human design circuitry. 7 body keys, 7 stuckness patterns. All of these can be mapped to you and the special imprint of your uniqueness. That alone is so exciting, is it not? We can move on now, the gene keys. So the gene keys. The gene keys are a system that kind of grew up out of human design. I love the gene keys. Very beautiful, beautiful, and powerful system. In the gene keys, there's one particular area. It's known as a sphere. It's known as your purpose sphere. And it does speak to your purpose, but it speaks to your embodied purpose. It speaks to your physical health and the ideal position of your body in relation to the world around it. And it's by contemplating this particular part of your gene keys profile that I can take the keys that we've identified through your human design and establish a sense for how those particular activities might express themselves through you. For instance, there are some people who express a very earthy quality when it comes to their physical connection to the world around them. So that expression might seem very grounded, it might be very simple. Other people express something significantly more fluid, like the element of water. And still other people express something fiery and dynamic. And so depending upon what's happening here in the gene keys, we get a very special flavor to what we've learned as a result of your human design circuitry, the way that you're wired. And so I pull these together. I pull these together to create a formula out of your body keys. It's beautiful. It's personal, very personal. The final of these three systems is known as wayfinding. Now, wayfinding is one of three pillars that I built into my own whole system human methodology. It's an extremely important piece to this puzzle. Honestly, it's the foundation of this whole thing. So what is wayfinding? Wayfinding is built on the principle that whatever we focus our attention toward amplifies in our experience. Whatever it is that we're offering our energy to actually grows and expands in our experience. So you can see how this principle often serves to keep us stuck in moments of tension, even as we attempt, to the best of our ability, to escape them. When we've been taught to process and to improve and to fix things, and we turn our attention toward the very problem that we would seek to address, oftentimes with all of that energy focused toward it, our vision hones to such a fine point that we develop tunnel vision. We get stuck in a loop. We literally get stuck in a tunnel of our own making as we work harder and harder and harder to loosen the knot. It tightens. We've all been there. And so wayfinding teaches us how not to do that. Wayfinding says that we don't necessarily need to dig ourselves into that hole. Instead, we can reorient the focus of our attention toward just about anything else. Wayfinding is about finding our way clear of tension and finding our way back to our own nature. It's about finding our way down out of that frenetic, conceptual, mental, confused space, down into the ground and the center of our own being, of our own physical nature. I've said this for so long, but the body holds all the answers. The key to unlock the prison of stuckness, it's in the body. In this case, the keys. So wayfinding is all about finding our way back to center. It's all about turning our attention away from the problem and towards something else. It's about allowing ourselves to become involved in something other than the problem that we're seeking to escape. And somehow, it seems like magic and it seems too simple to work, but it works. Somehow by doing this, by turning our attention away from the problem, the very tension that has been applied in attempting to fix that problem loosens a little bit. We have a moment to catch our breath. And that tightness and stuckness, that knot begins to soften. As we become softer in the body, the mind softens too. So that's wayfinding. But there's one other piece to the wayfinding puzzle, and this is another principle that actually comes out of hypnosis. This is it's a technique known as the pattern disrupt. And the idea with the pattern disrupt is that when you're stuck in a repeating pattern, you get yourself caught in a trance. And it can seem as though the pattern has always been that way and will always be that way. It's like a broken record. It's impossible to get that thing to stop. It drives you crazy. A pattern disrupt breaks into that pattern. It's almost as if you're in a dark tunnel, and the pattern disrupt is like a a flash of lightning reminding you that something exists outside of that tunnel. It reminds you of your own true nature, the potential for ease and brightness on the other side of that stuckness. So a pattern disrupt is a way of getting in the way of these stuckness patterns, of tricking ourselves out of the trance, so to speak. And there are many ways that we can do this on a psychological level, and that's where hypnosis tends to focus its attention. In this case, we're going to disrupt the pattern by involving ourselves in some form of activity, by engaging the body in action. And so this is really what we're dealing with the body keys. The body keys are a way of tying all three of these pieces together so that we can identify the specific areas of challenge that are going to be most prevalent in your experience. And then we can also identify the way out of those moments. We can pull it together into a formula. We can pull it together into a formula that speaks directly to you, to who you are, to how you've been built in order to express on a physical, emotional, spiritual level. And then we can turn our attention towards these keys in those moments of crisis or tension or stuckness. And we can allow everything that's delivered through these body keys to slowly over time transform us in those moments of stuckness and ultimately to free us from the tension that has become so normal. The body keys can lead us back to our nature, back into the body. Now what I'd like to do next is I'd like to record a video sharing how it is that I see myself serving you in this area. I'm going to pull together an offer, a way of presenting this information that doesn't take all of my time, but does give you the information you need in order to begin practicing this and making use of it in a real way in your real life. So that's coming. And in addition to that, I think I may like to record a few more videos too, at least another one, because I'd love to introduce you to the 7 different keys. I'd love to introduce you to the 7 different challenges. And I'd like to introduce you to the 7 gifts that emerge on the other side of relaxing those moments of tension. This is another piece to the puzzle that totally surprised me. On the other side of that challenge, once we've applied the keys and we've caught our breath and we've come back to center, in every case, there is this shimmering gift just waiting to be expressed through these energetic movements, which are so natural for you. So I'd like to introduce you to what some of those are, and then I'd like to get to work. And I'd like to start serving you, each of you. If you feel called to explore these body keys with me, I'll tell you more about how that might come together for you in the next video. We'll take it from there. This is a work in progress. It's happening as we speak. In the meantime, thank you for joining me. I'll be back really soon. Goodbye for now.